Anyway, speaking of not adding productivity to things, I have to tell you, back in the old high school days, a bit of a gearhead. Didn't know how to like operate a car, but I did know how to subscribe to magazines about cars. So Super Street magazine was one that I really liked. Car and Driver was another one. Motor Trend. Fucking read this stuff all the time. I eventually did put my McDonald's money towards a Honda Accord V6. That was pretty nice. But luckily the bug got out of me before I could kit it out with like Fast and Furious style. I'm like, this isn't the best use of funds at this point. I say all that to say our buddy Elon Musk is back in the news. And this is from this summer, I guess, Car and Driver article here. Entitled Tesla's Elon Musk says no chance at steering wheel instead of yoke in Model S. Which yoke is a very funny word, I feel like, for a captain of industry to use and force on people. Anyway,
what's a yoke?
Well, I feel like a yoke. We'll have to look up. I'll look that up in a little bit. But I feel like a yoke is what you do to like animals. Like,
what's wrong with this? I already see it.
You see it, right? Okay, look at this.
Oh my god!
This is the yoke steering wheel.
Of course, they have The Witcher too. This is a video game kind of concept. Oh, that can't work. That can't be real, is it?
That's real. So, yeah. So that it's like a vroom vroom F1 car, right? So Tesla's redesigned Model S with a yoke steering wheel, and we're not the only ones wondering, is it safe for the average driver? Reach out to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and learn that they don't approve design changes like this. It's up to the automaker to make sure its products meet safety standards before they release them. Well, I'm sure Elon will be, really like careful about it. Here's a guy showing how easy it is to make turns. Yoke. Look at that. So there's a guy. So there's a positive review there. So look, we'll get to the negative reviews.
Tesla Raj.
That doesn't matter. Don't focus on the name too much. We're going to include some positive reviews, and then we'll get to some negative reviews. Just because it's Tesla Raj doesn't mean he's unbiased. Fredster asks, any chance of a normal steering wheel option? Elon says no, just absolutely not. So yeah. Now, I did show that one positive review of the guy like in the model going like this, and he said it's easy to turn that way. Now here is,
I can't imagine.
Here is this is from Edmunds, another car. I did not subscribe to this one, but it is the global authority for unbiased, unvarnished automotive advice, news, and reviews and deals for over 50 years. Anyway, let's see how they respond to the Tesla yoke. And I guess kind of get rid of it in the, you get a little hint in the, don't let anybody tell you that Tesla yoke is a good idea.
As you can see, the yoke makes absolutely no sense when you're trying to apply lots of corrective steering. I've been around in here in a 911. It's the most fun in the world.
God, it's so uncomfortable.
You can see when you actually have to apply pretty rapid steering, it just doesn't work. It's kind of okay on the highway as long as you're not trying to
turn,
do a 3-point turn or on a twisty road, but anything beyond that, it actually feels dangerous because you can't grab different bits of it, honestly.
Yeah, because you're basically having to hold the entire wheel one-handed.
Yeah.
To turn.
I mean, yeah, you put your hand on that part all the time. You draw
the comic book, right, version of it, and then you're like, oh man, it would be so cool if we could have that in real life. And then an engineer says like, well, yeah, we designed the steering wheel so that you can make sure that you can grip it from all different angles.
I need to make it larger. There's a lot more.
There's more?
And an answer that nobody wanted. It's just for Twitter. It's ridiculous. Don't let anybody tell you this is a good idea. I can't believe it's illegal, to be honest. It's just daft. What you can't do is drift this Model S.
They should have stopped it right there at the idea phase, at the deal phase.
Yeah, exactly. What they should have done. Look at this. Here's some more. I'll talk about how the defense is, but
what particularly irritates me is that the left and right are both here. So you use your left thumb for turning left and your left thumb for turning right. Feels like it'd make a lot more sense if you had the right one here, where your right thumb is, and the left
Look
one
how
here.
uncomfortable he is.
Anyway, who am I?
You have no idea. So yeah, you said, first of all, I want to say there somebody got in my mention saying, you know, actually other cars have this. And what I will say is me and the professional car review guy here both agree, and I think David, that it's awkward. And if those cars do touch buttons on the same side, they should just do it on one side and the other. And a paddle is much different than those buttons, you know, on one side, obviously.
I'm sorry. You remember that this is maybe too much of a metaphor, but you remember that like Hillary Clinton commercial against Obama when it's like, who do you want to like answer the phone in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
Right. This is one of those moments where it's like when you really need something, you want it to be right. And if I'm having to turn in an emergency situation, I never, ever, ever want to reach, you know, to try to turn it and have nothing there.
Nothing there.
Because I got this fucking dumbass video game steering wheel.
Because, like, I mean, F1 cars, I think typically you're going into oval, but even in ones where, okay, it's a Grand Prix or whatever, like, those are professional drivers, and that turning, like, that's not the same type of turn.
Those are completely different vehicles
exactly.
than a sedan.
Yeah. Okay, so you said how uncomfortable
like a helicopter has a different kind of mechanism to move it around, too, because it's
an airplane. Vehicle. Right, exactly. So, okay, now this, you said how uncomfortable he is, like, look at this. Listen to his reaction here.
I've never been car sick in my life, ever. I've never even been sick on a boat. I've been a Formula 1 car. I've been in the back of a two-seater Formula 1 car. And yet, today in this, I don't know if it's the tune I had at lunchtime or just the sensations, I just started to feel like you didn't get fluid in your mouth and you're like, oof, this is not good. And I had to come into piss. It's the strangest feeling. I don't know whether it's because there's no noise and you don't get that same sensation, so your brain isn't processing in the same way that when you're in a supercar and it's noisy, or a race car and everything's happening, and your brain just kind of processes the speed. I really never felt like this before.
That's amazing. There's so much shit with where do I want to start? Because what's annoying about this is, like, I always say that, like, what's just annoying about Musk is that, like, there's good engineers working both on Tesla and SpaceX. And sometimes people might misunderstand. I don't know. I'll speak for myself, but, like, I'm very much of the opinion that, like, there's a lot of really incredible people working there, and, like, we're trying to come up with really interesting innovations. The problem, from everything that I've understood about that company, both SpaceX and Tesla, is that it's so top down. And it's one of those things where it's like, I have an insane idea that's not practical at all. I'm not building this for a proper user experience. It's like, I have a fantasy, and, like, you need to try to make reality match my fantasy as much as possible. The yoke is a great example of it. The fact that, you know, if you have any kind of injury to the body of a Tesla, it gets totaled is another amazing thing. Do you know about this, Matt?
No.
The way that they designed the bodies of the Teslas, this is amazing. The way that they designed the bodies of a Tesla, if you get into an accident, and this was really made sort of famous by, like, somebody was tweeting about it, a Tesla, like, enthusiast and owner of it, got in a fender bender, you know, nothing great, but, like, you know, no one wants to get in one of those, but it's like your bumper fell off of the back, right? That happens. Tries to take it into the, you know, to the mechanic to get it fixed, and they're told, no, we have to total it. And the reason is that Tesla doesn't design, one, they make the entire body out of aluminum, right? So that you can't get replacement parts because they're like one piece. And they don't sell replacement parts in the first place, right? And it's a classic, like, IP.
They're trying to iPhone the fucking car.
So yeah, exactly. It's the same kind of thing, right to repair situation,
right?
Where you buy the car and then you have to just buy a new one.
That is
kind of damage.
That's an absolute assault on fucking, like, honestly, like, you could, the right to repair is something that you should have a lot of cross aisle, like, bipartisan support for, like, usual people. That is honestly, like, I didn't know that was the truth, but that is fucking disgusting. That's as like, evil as anything he's doing.
Gets us right that we now have, you know, the cars are supposed to be the cutting edge of the future that are basically impossible to work on.
And that's true. Like, that's true of reporting. Like, we had probably one of the worst the chosen guests on Majority Report in the past year. Like, this guy who's kind of an Elon, kind of a critic. I mean, but like, you know, a little bit into the Kool-Aid. And that's, but it's also even like you reported, like there's the truth that Elon pressures out those early engineers in those big, in those big projects. And it does silly shit like, yeah, the yoke is not going to have a fucking steering wheel. You're going to reinvent the goddamn steering
spending
wheel.
your whole life designing, right? And like being like, oh man, and now I've made into this car company where ostensibly I'm supposed to be able to like innovate and like navigate the future. And like first day on the job, they're like, could you make a steering wheel but make it completely impossible to use? And also, could you design the car in a way that gives like everyday drivers and people who actually like review cars for a living, could you find a way to make them car sick too?
Also, let's do DLC so you can upgrade, take off the limiter, or have a little bit better autopilot that you still have to be hyper vigilant toward in case it starts driving down the fucking train tracks by accident.
Insane.
This isn't the one, folks. Not the one.
Our sweet boy. He's fallen so far from the stars.
He really... he's fun though, man. Like that shit. Seeing a test driver jerk around a fucking that's gonna kill somebody though. I mean, it's funny, but it's also like that's probably gonna kill somebody.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the Tesla had a very frightening safety record in general. I mean, do you remember we did this on the show? Do you remember when their autopilot was getting confused with the moon and thinking that it was yellow lights? It's like a public menace. It's not just goofy; it's dangerous shit.
That's like a fucking. Somebody's do a Halloween movie, a horror movie about that car. Didn't Stephen King do a car movie? Where the car's evil.
Oh yeah.
But this time it's like a werewolf car that sees the fucking moon, the full moon, thinks it's a yellow light, and just starts running people down.
The things with the Teslas is when it's a full moon, the car just becomes a killer car and it just tries to murder you. We call it night mode. It's a DLC coming out in spring of 2022.
Yeah, exactly.
$5,000, and you can pay in Bitcoin if you want.
Yeah, it'd be called beast mode.